This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 188. Find out why you're the problem. Are you a real estate agent who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right or better direction, I've created a free jumpstart course that's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. That's freeagentgift.com. Don't be a skeptic. It's a freebie. I have nothing to sell you there. Just download it, print out at least the one-page infographic that shows you the wireframe for how this business works from a beginner to somebody like me that's scaling it up into a multi-state company. It's the framework. I'm telling you, it's what I use every day. Stop being so skeptical. Stop chasing shiny objects and get strategic. That's the best way I can implore you to do this, okay? Now I'll move on. Find out why you're the problem. Now, this is an interesting challenge that I have when I'm coaching top producers. This is actually, they come to me with this challenge and this problem without probably knowing it. And the way that they express themselves is that they're exasperated. I had one this week that came to me. That's why I said, don't be skeptical. I had one that came to me this week looking for advice. He was referred by a friend who said, you have to get with Danny and he'll show you how to put together a strategy and build a business versus just doing this top production book of business. And every time somebody comes to me, especially guys, I'm going to tell you right now, all your testosterone out there, like I had mine in full gear, you don't listen, you're going 100 miles an hour. Every time somebody sneezes the words real estate together, you're on them, you're trying to do their business, and it's just not a business. You're muscling your way through selling properties. And it never turns into a business either, by the way. Sure, you can go out and buy lead gen platforms and you can scrape more lousy buyer leads off the bottom of the barrel of monkeys and you'll keep busy like that. But it's not a business. It's not a business. It's not a business. So the first point here is that, okay, if that's the reality of the situation, and take it from a guy who was the problem and who treats all the problem children that come his way, we have to admit first that we are. And problem's a strong word, but you need a strong word to, just really to collide into your present situation. And by the way, if you're new to the business, you will be the problem right from the start. Because the way that you think about the world is the way that you begin to react. And oftentimes you get nervous, you get scared, you get worried, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough resources. And all of a sudden you start to make emotional decisions that are non-strategic. And all that does is make everything go from bad to worse. I know that some of you top producers will, I'm selling a lot of properties. Great. If you go to bed at night and you feel good about the progression of this going concern, this thing called a business, great. Then I'm happy for you. That means you've done some work. But even you and any of us who want more or who want something better and know it's not truly a business, we have to first admit that the way we behave in the context of running that business is problematic, right? So I know it's hard to call us the problem and look in the mirror and say I'm the problem, but if we don't have the business that we want, well, and we're the one at the top of the totem pole here, well, then that's the problem, the way we think. Why is it that some entrepreneurs are so wildly successful and others aren't? It's the way that they think. In fact, problems and safety are an interesting thing, this concept of risk and whatnot. We often we're using so many excuses about why we won't grow a business as if it's risky, when the biggest risk is staying small, contracting, getting in the way of something that makes sense, repeating behaviors that keep giving you a less than average even result. That's problematic. And if you're the one causing those problems, then you're the problem. Second point, what you're actually running away from is management, right? So when you think about any business, now that I know what I know to a certain extent, of course, as I sit here every week, I don't know what I don't know. I'm always trying to learn. I'm actually scared to stop learning while I own a business because I know it's expanding or contracting in that moment. So I have to look at, what do I need to manage today? And why do I run from that? So I have one of my clients that I've had for a long time, and his business has really morphed from one of these businesses like a lot of us top producers had, where we got a lot of buyer internet leads early on when people really weren't that sophisticated at getting those leads, converting those leads, and it was a really good business. But the minute we didn't evolve, we got caught flat-footed, and then there was Zillow and Redfin and this one and that one, and everybody was trying to get the internet buyer lead, and the quality of these leads went down, and we stopped managing. We just stopped thinking about it. I didn't. I woke up and I said, okay, this is chaos. The internet has collided into this. It's created this chaos. And all of a sudden, I'm not thinking like a manager. I'm not thinking strategically. So I went back to the fundamentals of small business that I had learned from my mentor, who introduced me to Michael Gerber's work, the E-Myth. And what was glaring in the middle between the entrepreneur and the technician or salesperson, in our case, the real estate salesperson, was this word management, manager. So I realized, geez, you have to be tripolar to be successful in any kind of a small independent contractor business. You have to have some vision for that business, the entrepreneur. You have to manage it by creating systems and making sure they work. And then you have to go out and actually do the work, the technical work of selling or getting the leads, converting the leads. There's a lot of technical work. So management was what I was running from. And then that sort of, begged the question, okay, well, how do I go about that? But at least what I did was I built a framework, and that's why I said at freeagentgift.com, you could see what I did those years ago when I reset. Now it's close to 10 years where I reset the way I thought. And I was, again, wildly successful based on, if you looked at my track record and you look at how I was performing at Realty Executives before I started my own company, I was in the top 7 people internationally, right? I forget how many thousands of agents there were, but very quickly I was right up at the top and presuming that that was success. And it just never felt like it. Something always felt off. And it was because I was doing a lot of business. Yes, I was beginning to learn systems. They were going in place, but I still wasn't fully conscious that I was becoming a manager. And I would manage some things that I thought helped me sell more, but I wasn't ever really managing something that created a holistic approach to the business. Holistic meaning A through Z. And so I chunked that up and I realized, okay, what do I even have to manage? If I'm running from it, what do I have to manage? So I chunked it up into marketing, finding those people, especially people I didn't know, not just the ones I know that were referred to me. That never made sense, right? It's sort of like sitting around owning a Starbucks in the corner of state and Maine and hoping that all your friends refer somebody. Makes no sense to me. You have to learn how to do business with people you don't know. So you have to be strategic about how you're going to market to people you don't know, especially. And then just double down on the ones that you do so it's more professionalized. The next was, okay, once you find those people, what is the management of converting them from a lead? You don't know anything about why and how motivated they are to a prospect. You do, and you have a shot at doing business with them and you're serving them to a client where you're actively working with them. Then you move them on to a strategic module for closing so that you take really good care of them during that whole process so that they birth themselves, as I call them at my Realty, happy griffins. So they're likely to repeat and refer, and then we treat them like family for life. And then I have to go create a measurement module where all of that's being measured. And then I have to expand it with people. There were my modules. So at least I had a concept, and it wasn't rocket science. It was a concept of how this all works. And if you're only doing 3 deals a year, which is essentially the national average plus or minus a few, I know the typical agent, whatever that stat is, suppose he does 6 or 7. Okay, whatever the number is, from 0 to a lot, all of those modules are happening. If you do 1 deal, you found them somehow through marketing, even if it was just word of mouth or they referred to you, that's some sort of marketing. You marketed your services to them and they liked it. You moved them along from a lead to a prospect to a client. See what I'm saying? It's just, that's the cool thing about management and being strategic. Instead of running from it because it sounds so scary and boring and ugly and we don't know what to do, when I leaned, I'm like, geez, this is pretty simple. This is making my life simpler. So then that begs to the third point here. Well, why do we run in the first place? And again, I'm talking to myself and I'm talking about my top producers and hoping to share this with you. It's a good question. Why do you run in the first place? Now, of course, you, me, we are complicated. We're humans. So we really have this juxtaposition of the animal brain that's just trying to survive every week. And then we have this higher thinking brain that's trying to thrive. It's the one that just bugs us all the time because it wants a better life. It wants a better business. So you have these opposing forces. So obviously, and a lot of top producers are like this, they're animals. They're full score animals. They just can't stop trying to go out of the hut, kill something, bring it home, eat it. Go out of the hut, kill something, bring it home and eat it. Very animalistic, very saber-toothed tiger-like, right? And they just repeat that over and over. And the minute somebody says, well, slow down, not only do they run, a lot of them bite. I mean, I can't tell you how many people came to me for coaching. And when I try to collide into that paradigm of the saber-toothed tiger running away with this business, they bit me and then ran away from me. Right? And it happens, but I'm not going to pull the punch as a coach. The right thing to do is the right thing to do. So to explain to somebody, you're lacking the management brain and you have to develop that over time, and that'll take some patience, and you'll have to be challenged by people. This isn't like, I'm not one of these coaches that comes up with the idea du jour, right? That's absurd. It's a holistic approach to building a business. And then again, if we're the problem, we have to start asking ourselves good, almost therapeutical type of questions. Why do I run? Because it comes dressed in overalls and looks like work, says Edison about management, right? So those thousands of hours that I now spend looking at first those big rocks, I give you the big rocks, freeagentgift.com. Stop telling me you didn't hear that. Okay. Freeagentgift.com. You don't even have to listen to the audio of me and the video of me talking through the bullet points of a plan. Just download the infographic. There it is. It's a wireframe for management. So at least you can stare at the modules that say plan. Those are the modules. But then you're going to look at this and say, I am going to run because this is going to be juxtaposed against my animal brain. My animal brain can't make sense of not killing and eating something. So to become something that thrives and is strategic, the hunter that became strategic, the tribe that became strategic, made the other tribes what? Disappear, obsolete, survival of the smartest, not just the fittest, but the smartest. And the smartest are managed and the smartest are strategic, and they never stop evolving. Think about the evolution of weaponry and the evolution of it's actually a competence hierarchy. I talked about that in my other podcast. Look for that in the bonus section podcast, the competency hierarchy. It's this idea that the most competent, in this case, well-managed top producers, they can sustain their business. And you're wondering, how in the world does a top producer like that sell all those properties and take these nice vacations with their family and their business continues and their clients still like them? Because they're strategic, because they manage, because like me, they found the benefit of that and they stopped running. In fact, here's an irony, right? Instead of running away from it now, I run into it. I go looking for problems to solve as a manager. And every time something doesn't go my way, we lose a seller, a buyer doesn't choose to do business with us, an agent starts and leaves. I go right into the strategy and I look at what mistake did we make? What role did I play? And what role did my systems play? I don't blame anybody. I say something's off here and I have to make it better so I can stop the bleeding in one of those sections, right? So how to stop that running for yourself is you have to start to blend in this concept of self-development, right? So somewhere out there, I'm not going to point you in a gazillion different directions. My favorite being the new Psycho-Cybernetics book by Maxwell Maltz, edited by Dan Kennedy, because that talks about the redevelopment of a self-image that's consistent with a management brain. You can act as if this doesn't scare you and you're not running by practicing in the theater of your mind. And then you can steal my cheat sheet to look at it. And then what you do is you simply just ask good questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how intentionally am I managing my marketing? And when I am I really intentionally managing how I will explain to a seller why they should choose me above and beyond all other options, including nothing at all. That doesn't sound like I'm bragging. My resume, my company, and especially if you're new, you have no chance at that. So do you have a plan for the seller that you could give them? Show them the universal steps of selling? Do you have a plan that you could give the buyer? And by the way, that's another thing. We run away from the sellers because as a management brain, the animal goes to the easiest thing. We'll just get one of these buyer platforms and get these buyers. They're easy. You can get the buyers, and the buyers are easy. They're not. And it's become far more complex, far less profitable than it ever was before. So by asking good questions about marketing on a scale of 1 to 10, how intentionally am I managing it? And am I managing it so that I can find sellers? Am I managing it so that when I do find them, I give them the right materials that empower them versus tell them how great I think I am? Then once that happens, do I have a systematic approach, and am I intentionally managing as they move? And this is as simple as like Google Sheets. Do I move my leads over to prospects? With a prospect, I know that they have a real reason why they want to sell or buy inside the next 12 months, and that I'm sending them sold properties, I'm sending them market updates, that easy. And then once they become clients, am I doing the right thing to advise them on their pricing, their condition, their staging? Am I actually pushing marketing around, even open houses where I get action? You see, it's just this implementation of the obvious. Management is doing the obvious stuff. It's not some esoteric concept that the latest guru with a microphone and a laptop gives you. It's just executing the basics of the plan. And suddenly you're not running at all. You're managing something. And like I said, if it ends up being like me and you stay patient with it, you'll run to it because it just gets better and better. And then you have this wonderful opportunity for you top producers to bring in other people who are better than you will ever be at pieces of it and empower them and give them a better lifestyle through employment or at least, the independent contractor relationship with you. Yeah, I'm passionate about this. You can hear it in this one. I'm really passionate about this deal because it's you. It's me. It's us. It's you. It's me. It's us. We are the problem child. So we have to really think about this. Let me go back and hit these points. Find out why you're the problem. In other words, find out is a proactive thing to do. Don't sit around sucking your thumb, hoping that somebody's going to give you an idea. Stop being such a sheeple, right? Don't do that. And the points are, 1, we have to admit that we are the problem. Look in the mirror and say, you're the problem. And it's not a negative thing. It's a recognition that the animal's in charge, not the thriving brain. 2, management is what you're running from. That's why you're the problem. You run from managing. 3, ask yourself, well, why do I run away from managing? And think about it. What scares you? And then lastly, how to stop running? Go to freeagentgift.com, download my simple one-page infographic, and at least start to manage the modules. That's how I'll start you. All right, let me summarize it this way. In our real estate agent business, the simple fact is that we are the main problem. Although we want to blame our circumstances, the simple fact is that any challenge can be overcome by thinking, strategizing, and then managing it. The key steps are to admit that you're the problem and then figure out why you personally keep running away from the responsibility of managing yourself and then your business better. All right, remember, you can take immediate action if you want to get moving in this better direction because we have this free, simple business plan. It's a little wireframe strategy. It's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe to the Realty Class channel, and you'll know every time we put up a video. We also appreciate it if you would share our content with other real estate agents just like you so they get the help that they need. We'd appreciate that. Be a sharer. But remember this, we sign off the same way every week. Nobody's coming for you. Absolutely nobody. So go get to work on your business and in this episode on yourself, and we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again.